Hi, it's Trish Jenkins here on Trish TV, and I'm thrilled to have Matt Prater here, who has had an amazing career in the media, and not just in the media, but he rubs shoulders with the most amazing people that are famous through Australia and wherever else, and yet his heart is also for the homeless and feeding the hungry, and he's perfectly at ease talking with top income earners, and just as at ease putting his arm around an old man with whose life is just broken, and giving him a hand, and that's the kind of genuineness that I really admire. And I was hearing about him on the radio. I've been interviewed on his radio station, and recently I was driving around, and I heard about it, and I went, I need to connect with Matt again, and I bet a lot of other people will want to as well. So Matt, welcome to the show.
Thanks so much, Trish. It's great to be on Trish TV. I've heard about Trish TV. I'm finally a guest.
Very good. Well, please give us a bit of your background, and what we're going to do today, we're going to talk about what you've been up to, but I also want to get into the tough stuff, and some of that is to do with what your everyday stuff, because you've got some huge challenges, particularly with COVID going on. We'll get to that, but tell us how you got into, I believe your radio show is called Historymakers. So tell us how you got into that, Matt.
Yeah, well, I grew up in Coffs Harbour in New South Wales, and, loved going to the beach, loved, sport, all sorts of stuff as a young fella. But then when I was 15, I started doing a monthly radio shift at Australia's only youth radio station. So I and just started telling dad jokes and having fun, playing requests and all. And then I thought, you know what, I could do this for a career. I'd enjoy doing more of this one day, And so I ended up working in radio for many years, selling advertising. I ended up doing my own radio show. And then when I moved to Brisbane, about 20 years ago, I moved to Brisbane, and I always had this dream in my heart to do a radio show where I could interview people about their life story, a little bit like Australian Story or, Parkinson or one of those kind of shows, And I was working at 96.5, a community radio station in Brisbane, and I was the sales manager. So I had 6 staff. We had budgets to meet. It was one of those jobs dealing with all sorts of different, car dealers and lawyers and home loan companies, anyone that wanted to advertise on the radio. So I was pretty busy doing that. But I had this stirring in my heart to be on the air telling stories.
Oh,
and so I went to a special fundraising night for Scripps Union, Queensland, and they had 4 main speakers there. And I said to my boss, I want to take my little recorder along and do a radio interview. And he goes, yeah, all right, I'll see how it goes, And so I snagged an interview with 4 incredible people that night. I got Kevin Rudd, who was obviously became the Prime Minister, but this was before he was the Prime Minister. I think it was the shadow Foreign Affairs guy at the time, I think. John Anderson, who was the Deputy Prime Minister at the time. We had Marina Pryor, who's a well-known opera singer who sings on the Christmas carols on Channel 9 every year. And also Tim Costello, who was the CEO of World Vision, and, his brother's Peter Costello. So I interviewed all 4 of them in one night and just asked them to share their life story. And I went back to the radio station and I said, do you want to play them? And I went, yeah. So they played them in Brisbane here. And then my boss said, why don't you send it out to all the other Christian community stations around Australia? There's about 35 in total. So I sent it out to all the other stations, and most of them took on my show as a weekly program. So I then had to come up with a different interview every week.
Yeah, well, I'm finding out what that's like now. Because I've got the Saturday night preach to Pakistan that you did, and then there's this, and this is our business side of things. And then we're going to have a second interview with Matt that you can join us for in an hour at the end of the next hour. And it's just been amazing. What a great career path. That's just so exciting.
So I've really loved doing it, Trish. And, you know, over the years, I've interviewed, you know, all sorts of different sports stars, musicians, authors, you know, pastors, leaders, you know, politicians from all sorts of different spectrums, you know, leaders of charities, missionaries, all sorts of interesting stories. And I just love asking people to tell us what makes them tick. What's the secret to their success? How did they overcome the obstacles they've had in their life? So it's certainly been fun doing it for 15 years. And, you know, we do it on radio stations, but also it's on the podcast on iTunes, and we've got a YouTube channel as well. So you never know who's going to watch a Historymakers interview or listen to an Historymakers interview anytime.
Wow, wow. And would you say one of the things I do want to ask you about is when you just mentioned about what makes them tick, how do they overcome obstacles? Now, our theme is about building resilience. So was there a common theme with some of these people that you interviewed, and does it relate to your own longevity and success in being resilient?
Great question, you know, and over the years, there has been definitely a common theme. And, you know, I would say what sets apart someone as a history maker is someone that just never gave up. Someone that no matter what mountain was in front of them, no matter what financial struggle they had, no matter what, you know, problem they were having in their business or their career or whatever, they just got up the next day and tried again. You know, they say that, you know, the average millionaire, I think, has failed 7 times before they become a millionaire. You know, I've heard stats like that before. The reality is we've all failed. And, you know, like one of my favourite speakers, John Maxwell, says, we've got to fail forward. We've got to continue to rise up the next day and have another crack. And I would say that's one of the common themes through all the Historymakers interviews. I think of the number of people that I've spoke to that said that they hit rock bottom and then they had that moment of, okay, I need to try again. I need to rethink things. I need to relook at things and just start again. And I think that's one of the keys to resilience and to success. It's just that not giving up, just having another crack, having that attitude that I believe I'm going to make it through this to the end. And this too shall pass. Whatever we're going through, this will pass. Just keep going. And I think that's been a common theme for 2020 this year, Trish. No matter what's happened during COVID, this will pass. We'll get through this one day.
We will if we never give up. That's just a great attitude to have. That's so awesome. And, you know, you've put me in mind of the people that you do help, because I know you've got a recovery program, and I'd like to visit the topic of the homeless people that you help. And I believe I'm going to share the screen for your website, because, you know, you mentioned about people hitting rock bottom, and I'm somewhat familiar with my natural father. Many years ago in the 70s, came to the awareness that he was an alcoholic, and he didn't become homeless as such that I'm aware of, but he had to hit rock bottom, and he needed help with other people, you know, giving that help, and that's what you do. And for some of us, that we do have to hit rock bottom before we can, well, give up what's not good for us, and then not give up hope. But sometimes people need a hand, you know, to be able to get that strength back again. And what I'd like to do, I'm going to share my screen and bring up one of the 2 websites. I did have a ticker going across the bottom, which was to do with Vision Radio, that people may have seen, which is to do with your work. Now, this is newhopecare.org.au, which I can... Right, so that's going across the bottom if people want to have a look at that. But we've gone here now for the work that you do. And what I'd like to do is scroll down, and I'm going to enlarge this video. And I'd like to it's about 3 minutes, but I'd love to share that with everybody if that's all right, because it's just really moved me to give people an idea of what you're involved with. Can you hear that all right?
Yes,
on the first day when we started our soup kitchen, we advertised it, we put out flyers everywhere, and we're here in the morning and no one turned up. So what we did is a few of us got in our cars and we go to the local men's and women's shelters and brought people in for lunch.
As a head chef, I prepare all good quality meals. So far we've done chicken parmigiana, minestrone, lasagnas, reef and beef. We've had rump steak, 200 gram with prawns. I cook entrees, mains and desserts and just make everything look nice and cozy for the people when they come. I don't remember having one complaint yet.
We have a team of about 12 to 15 that come along and help out. They prepare the food, they set the tables. But more importantly, we sit down and just have a chat with people. We've got university students, people who are in between jobs that just come along and they say it fills their tank. They love it when they're helping out here. Okay, guys, well, welcome along to the soup kitchen today. We've got a great food fiesta in store for you today. We've got some amazing food. Why don't we jump out now and we can head outside and see what they've got upstairs for us, eh? I feel like I'm the Pied Piper. I walk through and say, all right, who wants a free lunch? When they realise that we're actually real people that just want to have a chat and want to love on them. A lot of people come and then they feel like they're a part of the family. They feel like they can connect with us. There's a lot of people out there that are doing it tough. They're either living on the streets or they're living below the poverty line and they just don't really connect with anyone. So we really want this to be a place where we can build community.
Good morning, family. How are you? Merry Christmas, everybody. Today we're going to treat you at King's Table. For lunch, we've got the garlic bread. We're going to follow with a grilled turkey with all the trimmings. Then we're going to have all beautiful vegetables. Then we're going to have about 5 or 6 different desserts. And after that, tea and coffee.
There's lots of people that have come and they just sit here, they eat the food and they feel like they're in a safe environment. And really that's what we want to create, a safe haven and a refuge in the midst of whatever storm people are going through.
Les and I were the first couple to come to Soup Kitchen, and it's important to meet everyone, and we've been coming ever since it started, and the food's very nice and we're pleased to have a hot meal.
It's a really good place to come to just talk to people.
It allows me to mix with other people in the same situation as what I am, and it's giving to people that wouldn't normally be able to have this type of Christmas in their normal way of life. And it helps them with their self-esteem, and also it makes sure that they've got good food in their belly on Christmas Day.
Really good. I really like this place.
I was once homeless myself. I had people come and help me and wanted to feed me and take care of me. So now I'd like to do the same for the community.
Wow. Wow. That's my goodness, it's hard to find words, Matt.
Yeah, well, that's a few years old now. Actually, you notice I had hair back then when we filmed that. But that was for our Christmas lunch, which is always a big event. And coming up, can you believe it's not long to go to Christmas now? But I love showing that video because it shows, Adam, who he's not our chef anymore, but he was our chef back then. He had been homeless, and he decided that when he got his life back on track, he wanted to give back to those going through the same problems he'd been through. And he was our chef for a number of years. Now we've got another guy named Norm, who's like 72. He's been a drug dealer. He's been in prison. He's hit rock bottom. Now he's married with kids and his life's on track. He's a part of our church. And he just loves to serve at the soup kitchen, serving up. And the start of the year, we were getting about 50 or 60 people for lunch at the soup kitchen. And then COVID hit. So we had to close it down. What we decided was we'd cook meals, put them in takeaway containers and take them out. And now we're doing about 400 meals every week that we package up and we send them out to all the home. There's about 18 homeless shelters we visit every Friday now. We take them food, we have clothes, and we just chat with people and offer to pray for them and see if we can help them out in any way. And this is one of my favourite quotes, Trish, that I believe about this organisation. Comfort the afflicted and afflict the comfortable. There's lots of people that are afflicted out there and they need comfort. But there might be some business people watching this that are comfortable. And I want to make you uncomfortable today. I want you to think about how you can help the poor, not by just giving financially, but by volunteering. It's my favourite day of the week, Fridays, Trish, getting on down to that soup kitchen, hanging out with that crowd. I love it. And these guys just love talking to people, and we're trying to build a safe environment for people, So whether I'm interviewing people on the radio for History Makers or whether I'm at the soup kitchen, I want to treat them just the same, with respect, with dignity, with honour, and find out their story. I love it.
It's so beautiful because sometimes, when I've watched programs on TV to do with, there's one that's been on the ABC about well-known people pretending to be homeless and actually having that homeless experience for a period of time. And one thing that they said that was touched on in the video was that they felt invisible, and that it was such a comfort to be able to talk to people that the homeless can feel like it's people don't want to look at them as they go past. And it's like they're just not there and that they're invisible. And for them to be able to mix and talk to people in a safe environment is so crucial. I know with my children, when my eldest finished year 12, instead of going to Schoolies Week, she went to Thailand, where I've got a contact over there who has a not-for-profit, and she volunteered over there helping out. And part of what they did was go up to Mae Sot on the border town where the families live on the dumps. I wanted her to experience that. Maybe I should have sent her down to you so that she could work with the homeless. But I think it's really important, especially when we want to encourage our kids to get on in life and have a career and go into business and to make money and to have a great life. I think it's really important for them to be aware of different parts of society and to know that most people live only a few months away from homelessness themselves with their savings. And I think what we're finding with COVID, and I'm sure as you've said, with the numbers changing, even though you're delivering to places where the people already are, you're finding that the increased numbers of homelessness during COVID, not just the number of meals you're sending out, you're finding that.
Yeah, no, it's definitely been heartbreaking to see the increase in needy people. And I'll just jump back a bit, Trish, because there's something you said that really triggered me to mention this. I watched that series, Filthy Rich and Homeless.
That's it.
I think it was on SBS or whatever, but I remember seeing there was a famous guy on there who was living with an Aboriginal guy in a tent, and he was learning what it was like to be homeless. And this guy was telling him his story, that he had all these problems in his life, and then the rich guy who was in the show, he just comes over to the camera and he says, "I've got nothing to help this guy with. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to do. I've got nothing." And it really broke my heart, thinking, you know what? This is why we do what we do, because we have hope. We have a message of good news that we're bringing to these people. And, you saw it in the video there before. You saw Adam, the chef that had been homeless. His life was transformed and now he's helping, There's a lot of people that are now serving that are in our soup kitchen. So we're back on every Friday, by the way, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. At 46 Kelvin Grove Road. Anyone that wants to come down in Brisbane and help out, it's back on every Friday lunch. And we're still going out to the shelters with the meals too. But a lot of the people that are volunteering have been there and hit rock bottom and are now helping. Or the other thing we're finding is that there is some wealthy, successful people that never were connected to homeless people in their life, thought, I might try this out. I might give this a go. And they found out it was the best decision they ever made. They're now, one of our guys was an engineer with John Holland, who was in charge of all the tunnels, and, he's a high flyer. He told me 5 years ago he was the kind of guy that would have, if he saw a homeless person, he would have crossed to the other side of the road. And then when he started coming and volunteering and helping, something changed in his heart. And that guy has now helped out, leading our New Hope Care Ministry for a number of years. He's had some of these homeless guys over to his home for meals. He's helped these guys get jobs. He's helped them get clothes. He's helped them, get trained and equipped. And instead of just giving a hand out, he's giving a hand up to some of these guys now. And that's what a lot of these guys need. They just need a father or a mother just to love them,
It's no matter how old they are, there's some, gosh, that's, I went to a performance to do with Mother's Day. No, it was some sort of group, and there was a gentleman there who would have been in his 60s telling his story about his father and how brutal he was, because we were talking about mothers, and he was in tears. This is a man in his 60s in tears, still grieving that, still broken because he was not loved by his dad.
Yeah.
And it's very easy for people to go, you start off with a theory and an opinion about homelessness, and sometimes it can be quite not very nice, kind of a bit judgmental. But I would encourage people to even just to volunteer one day once, just to give it a go and have a conversation. I found when I spent that time in prison, as you know, I spent 8 months in prison. And, before that, you think, well, they're those people and they're those kind of people and not like me. It's them and us kind of thing. But when I was among them, wearing the same uniform, being treated the same way, I got to hear their stories, and some of them had been homeless. And for some of them, going to prison is actually putting a roof over their head. And they'll do something to put themselves in prison just so they've got somewhere to stay for the winter. It's full on. And it turned my heart inside out. And there aren't any easy answers, but to have compassion is a start.
Yeah.
To at least be open to something, instead of, you can't judge people that you haven't sat down and talked with. There's mental illness issues, there's health issues, and there's some foolish decision issues that tend to get compounded. But many of us have got somebody, we've got family, we've got people that we can connect to reach up again, and a lot of these people don't. And I just think it would be the healthiest thing for people to just have a turn serving and just doing that. So what I'd like to do is encourage people watching to, now I've kept the your website, newhopecare.org.au, streaming across the bottom, so people can go there to get in touch with your organisation, and that's where they can find you as well, so they can find out how they. Now I'm going to come as well. I'm going to share. You've invited me to come and share a word of encouragement for them, so I will come on one of those Fridays and share a little bit about the hope that I have and what helped me when I was in despair and in prison and so on, and not just about me, but to just be a friend and to give them some love, I'm
looking forward to having you come, Trish, because that's one of the other highlights every week, is that we have a different speaker every week. People that give their testimony, share their story of what they've been through. And I've had, politicians come, I've had pastors come, I've had people that have been homeless that have got their lives together, and it's great for them to connect and to hear different stories as well. And the other thing I just want to mention too is that we also helped launch a rehab in the last several years.
Yes.
So you might have a picture there you can put on the screen.
I do. I'm going to
it's called rito, R-E-T-O, which is a Spanish word.
Okay,
and it's absolutely amazing. They've got an op shop at Acacia Ridge. So there's me at the radio there. You can see me there. That's with Neil Johnson.
That's you at the radio station, being your big famous self. And there's you with Wesley Leake. Good on you, Wes. You are everywhere, mate.
He's a good bloke, Wes. He runs an organisation called Business Blessings. He's a top bloke.
He does, great Business Blessings. I'll have to have him on this show too.
Yep.
All right, and here we are.
So these are the guys from Rito. So the guy in the blue shirt there, he helps run New Hope Care with us. And the other three guys are all ex-drug addicts that are now living at Rito Rehab. And Rito is on 10 acres of land an hour south of Brisbane at a place called North Maclean. And they have a very strict policy of cold turkey. When you turn up there, you've got to give up the cigarettes, everything. And once you detox and you get off your drugs or whatever, they then train you up to work in the op shop, and they get them to work on the land, mow the lawns, do the gardening, and then they fix washing machines and secondhand goods, and they teach them how to work with their hands. There's a saying that says, idle hands make for the devil's work, So with these ex-addicts, they try and get them to work hard and get their life together. And these guys are amazing. So that's one of my goals with our soup kitchen as well. For people that are in addiction, we want to see them get set free.
Yes.
And, you know, it's one thing for them to come to our soup kitchen and then go back into the homeless shelter and just where there's just drugs everywhere. It's another thing to get them back out to the rehab where they can get clean. And so that's our goal. We want to don't just give them a hand out. We want to give them a hand up so that they're set up for success to overcome their addiction. Also on the Fridays, we run a recovery course, which is like AA, and it's more of a Christian version. And we also run, the Cap Money course, teaching people how to budget. You know, we have a holistic view of helping people get set free from their addiction. And, we also run a job club throughout the year last year where we try and get people employed as well. So we're looking at every part of their life. How can we help these guys be set up for success?
Oh, so good. And I've just been that's look, and we've had Claire Gambaro watching right now. I've just checked the comments, and so we've got how awesome, and then and a few retro Hope. So good. She's just brilliant. And that it's a hand up. So thank you for that, Claire. I was getting so wrapped up I needed to check on my comments and things that are there. Now I also want to encourage people that, you know, if you're watching this and it's not necessarily, or you're watching a replay of this, please, you know, like it, comment and share. And if you know anyone that might be in business, might know people who they might even have, yes, he is amazing.
Thanks, Claire. You're amazing.
Yeah, Claire is amazing. So if you're watching this on the replay and you know people in business or, that are to do with organisations that might even like to lend a hand, maybe a donation, that's okay. Just do that through the website though, through the New Hope Care website. However you think, you know, sling them $100 if you can, or if you can do something that's a little bit more structured, that'd be fabulous as well. The homelessness is only a mental illness and things that had a hiding over COVID. And so, you know, we need to support organisations like this in place because there's only going to be more of it. But you know what? There's hope. And it's called New Hope. And Matt, I want to thank you for what you're doing and the fact that you're able to liaise with great people who are doing great things, and then great people who just need a hand to get up again. And I just love your heart. I love your heart and what you've been doing. So what we're going to do now, we're going to sign off now. I'd like to keep this nice and short, you know, just under half an hour. And we're going to take a break so that Matt can refresh. And then what we're going to do, the next broadcast that we're going to do, I can't remember if I said it was going to be on the hour, but we might take 10 minutes. Do you think, Matt, 10 minutes okay?
10 minutes sounds good,
Yep. And what we're going to do is we're going to go behind the scenes, and we're going to go into the part where Matt is going to talk about his faith and some miracles that may have happened and some of the stories of the people that his organisation is helping. So it will have a Christian slant to it. So you are very welcome to join us and hear about that side of things and some of the amazing things that have happened there. So with these interviews, I've got your business side of things, but I also like to do a second one behind the scenes where that spiritual side is, so that if it's not someone's cup of tea, that's fine. But if you're curious, you want to join us, we'd love to have you on. So we will see you. It's now past, so we'll see you in 10 minutes time. So thanks very much, Matt. See you shortly.
Thank you.